Good morning, people of the internet. Today, I'm going to be explaining the Survivalism skill tree in the early access game Atlas on Xbox. So, first we're going to discuss what this tree gives you access to in terms of the things that you can craft. So, the basic skill here gives you access to the hatchet, the stone pick, the torch, campfire, the cloth armor set, the simple bed, and notes. The other option you have to start with is Tools of the Trade, which gives you access to a very versatile weapon, the spear, which you can both use as a ranged weapon and in melee combat. Now, from Tools of the Trade, you can unlock Advanced Tools. Now, Advanced Tools is going to give you access to the smithy, the shovel, fishing rod, scissors, spyglass, lantern, metal pick, metal hatchet, the metal sickle, climbing picks, and a fishing net. And then below basics, you get water keeper, which gives you access to the water skin. In terms of what this tree gives you in craftables, that's all there is. From there on, as you would assume, it's a great place to find perks that'll help you survive and stay alive longer when you're out there against Mother Nature. Alright, so before we can look at how the other perks in this tree can help affect your survivability, let's see how we can utilize some of the tools you can now make with the first couple skills from this tree. So, the stone hatchet and pick are your first tools, and these are going to allow you to harvest everything you're going to need to continue on and progress in this game. The stone pick is better at grabbing thatch and gives you some wood. The hatchet is great for collecting wood, but gives you some thatch. It also works on stones, where the hatchet gives you more rock, the pick gives you more flint, and then when you're harvesting a dead animal, the hatchet is better used for hide, where the pick is better used for meat. So, just for some context on some topics we're going to cover, I want to explain insulation. Hyperthermal insulation helps keeps you cool when it's hot. Hypothermal insulation helps to keep you warm when it's cold. Now you can see the temperature of where you are by opening your inventory screen, and it'll be to the right of your armor slots and right below your XP bar. Now when you have no fortitude, no armor, nothing, you actually have a base of 0 insulation. And the hot status effect will come in at 79 degrees, and the cold status effect will come in at 59 degrees. Also want to make quick note that when you have the equilibrium from your vitamins all being the same, you can see here it gives you a base of 30 fortitude, giving you 48 in both hypo and hyperthermal insulation. So now to move on talking about the torch. Now the torch is great for when it's the dead of night, you're just trying to explore, and visibility is obviously quite low. Now, the torch can give you an aura of light both when it's just on your hotbar, where your character will put it on his belt, or when you're holding it in your hand, like so. When you're holding it in your hand, it gives you a bonus to your hypothermal fortitude, helping you stave off the cold, but gives a negative to your hyperthermal insulation, so you'll get hotter faster. This is only effective if you're holding it in your hand. With the hypothermal and hyperthermal insulation changes, you'll be getting hot at 76 degrees opposed to the normal 79, but stay comfortable up to 55 opposed to the normal 59. Now, it can also be used as a makeshift melee weapon that can set targets on fire, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and at full durability, breaks in about 5 hits. And as you saw, even if you do manage to light them on fire, if it's something like a boar, they're going to run right at you, and they're going to set you on fire. So maybe we should leave the melee fighting to some of the other tools you're going to be building. The campfire is where you'll roast the meat of your fallen enemies to make a delicious meal. It also gives a more substantial hypothermal insulation bonus, but sadly, an equally substantial hyperthermal insulation debuff. So, when it's cold outside, it's really nice to bundle up next to, but when the sun is beating on you above, it's probably a good idea to keep your distance. With this, at 74 degrees you will get hot, but you can stay comfortable up to 52. You can use both wood and thatch as a fuel source. So, now the cloth armor set makes you look like a swanky pirate deckhand that's ready to dive ashore and dig for some treasure. But other than just looks, it gives a nice bonus to your hyperthermal insulation to help keep up with the heat of those hotter climates, as well as keeping you a bit warmer once it starts to cool off. You can be comfortable within a range of 56 to 86. It also offers some defense from physical damage, although nothing too crazy, as giving you an armor score of 25 only seems to decrease a pig's attack by 1. Now, moving from the armor, we got the simple bed. Something you are going to be building throughout the entire game, no matter what point you're at. It is your respawn point, should you ever perish, and you can also use it to fast travel between other beds you have placed down around the map. However, if you are planning on fast traveling, you are going to have to drop any and all items that are on you. Now make sure to be very careful about hiding these and protecting them, because if they ever get destroyed, that's it. Alright, and here we also have notes. There are small slips of paper that you can put notes on, of course. However, I've discovered you got to be careful how much you write on. As you can see here, put the alphabet on there, you can read all that just fine. However, this one I just spammed a bunch of letters and they eventually get cut off. And I have found no way of actually being able to edit, delete, or change anything that is on a note. Once you have written on it, that's it. If there's a part that is cut off that you can't read, then there's not really anything else you can do about it. So be very careful when using these. So, from tools of the trade, we got the spear. Pretty nice little weapon. You can build it on the go just from gathering some flint, some wood, some thatch, and some fiber. Everything you could gather with your hands. And once you've done that, you have a melee weapon that has a swipe damage of 21. It's got a charging lunge attack with a damage of 30. Medium ranged melee poke attack that is 14. And then probably one of the best parts about it, it's got a ranged throwing attack that's doing a whopping 75 damage, giving you that advantage on anybody trying to close the distance in on you, giving you the time to get in some extra damage before you actually clash. Now, something unique about the spear is that they don't have any durability bar. Instead, there is a random chance that when you hit something, it will just break. Alright, moving on to the advanced tools tree, you got the smithy. The smithy is a crafting station. We're going to create a majority of your tools, weapons, and structures from here on forward. It has no weight limit, and it also has a total storage capacity of 150 items, meaning stacks of items. It is a great storage area. However, you must be careful because anybody can have access to this. You can't put a pin on it or lock it, so you have to keep it tucked away and hidden if you don't want anybody to use it or see what's in it. Or better yet, just keep a storage chest nearby to store all your valuables. Alright, now we're looking at the shovel. The shovel is a tool used to dig up large water spouts that go and help you get plenty of water, so if you're ever struggling to deal with your dehydration. It can also be used for digging up random objects like potatoes or more potatoes and even more potatoes. But you can also get things like jute, or I guess fiber, thatch, and stone. It's not a lot though, so definitely don't count this as a reliable source of gaining resources. Oh, and then quick note, forgot to mention this. It's also good for looking for worms to use as bait for when you are going to go fishing, and it can also be used to dig up the treasure that you will need, that you will be wanting to get when you go looking for treasure from those treasure maps you find in the bottles that float around islands in the shallows. Alright, and now moving on to the fishing rod. This is a tool that allows you to gather fish without having to hunt them down and harvest them. You need to have a chair, sit near a body of water, and as you can see, you can put it pretty far into the water. They need your fishing rod with some kind of bait, either worms or any kind of sap that isn't resin. and then you're going to go ahead and cast out your line. Alright, so once you've been out to sea for a while and you've casted out your line, a mini game just like this will pop up, and for each one you get successfully, you'll pull them in closer and closer until you catch the sea bass. Now go ahead and see here, sea bass gave us some fish meat, gave us some gold, gave us all kinds of cool stuff. Now, it does sometimes take a while for them to actually get in here, and you have to be very careful with those mini games, because if you mess one up, then that's it. Now, depending on the fish you catch, you will be able to get other things like skin and oil. It's all just a random chance based on what you caught. So, if you've been out on the ocean for a number of quote-unquote years, in-game that is, you'll notice that your hair starts to get a little long, a little unruly, a little messy. Now, if you're going for that savage pirate look, you may be happy with that. But some gentlemen prefer to be a bit more refined. So if you go ahead and grab yourself a pair of scissors that can be crafted in the smithy, you go ahead and get this menu. You can adjust the hair length of which you'd like to cut it to. You can look at the different hairstyles, like this is the dreads, for example, which is currently the only other hairstyle I got. However, I would assume they're going to be adding more, and there may even be more in the game. You just have to unlock through certain kind of quests or achievements. So let's go ahead and cut this guy's hair a little bit shorter, nice and neat. Now let's look at some of his facial hair. Should have our guy rock a goatee. Get some mutton chops going. Ooh, those look kind of rough. Okay, it's a little better once you get a little more hair. Perhaps a mustache. Yeah, let's go with the goatee. I'm gonna keep it pretty close shaven, don't want it too long. Go ahead and finish that up, and as you can see, we got 21 hair from it. So, if you're ever in a pinch for some extra hide, you can go ahead and cut your own hair. It's not a lot, but if you really don't feel like going out and hunting that pig, then there you go. Alright, next we got is the spyglass. It is a tool that provides you with invaluable information. Now if you go ahead and aim it down, you can see anything you see in the very center of it. It'll give you the health, the name, and the level. And that's for animals, creatures, tames. Now for owned structures and tames, it will tell you its health, the owner of it, and as you can see right here, whether it is manned or loaded. For weapons, of course. So right here, large cannon belongs to me. It is unloaded and unmanned. Now if we go over here, you will see these are all manned, but they're all unloaded. And then you could, even if you finagle it right there, you can see one-legged Joe Nine Toes, level 1. And it looks like he's needing some gold, because I assume that's why it's over his health bar. But so the spyglass, in my opinion, is an invaluable tool that just helps so much when you're out on the seas trying to see who's who, you know, making sure you're staying safe, steering clear of certain people. Alright, next we're going to talk about the lantern. Pretty obvious one, but it is quite nice. Now, the lantern very obviously gives off a much brighter, more consistent light that isn't flickering like the flame. And you also don't need to hold it in your hand, and it gives off that very bright light. It's actually not even an option to hold it in your hand. But so it's nice because you can turn it on and off. The torch, when you have it on your belt, it's just on all the time until it breaks, or you unequip it off your bar. Now, another cool thing is you could have it on your belt. It is waterproof, so you can dive underwater with it, which it is great for. It uses oil as fuel. And it also provides no hypo or hyperthermal insulation. You can actually, here, let's show this real quick. A cool thing about this is you can put color on it. Look at that. We put on the navy blue. Now we give off this really cool looking blue light. Let's do brick. And look at that, it's blood red. Now imagine like putting these all over your boat. And just have a red glowing ship. The orange, not bad. Do we already look forest? I don't think so. Look at that. Super cool, right? And then if you have a wall hook that you could pretty much put anywhere, you can go ahead and throw your lantern on up in there. That one little inventory slot. And look at that. And it keeps the color. So you can get and use these to decorate your ship, or even, you know, you could use it practically, you know, when your ship is sailing around at night, help you see a little bit better. But so yeah, pretty simple little tool, but quite useful in this game. Nighttime get very dark. Alright, and next just a quick little go over of the metal variants of your basic tools. You got the metal pick, you got the metal hatchet, and then you got the sickle. The sickle's a new one. The sickle is great for gathering fiber. I believe it works that you gather less fiber per node, but you can gather multiple nodes at once, and it's much faster, so you can gather a lot more fiber a lot quicker. They're more durable than their stone counterparts. They gather just more resources in general. Like with this metal hatchet, you'll see like we're already above 50. We're probably already above 100, and that was just one tree. You know, it's super great. Next, we got the climbing picks. It's amazing how much vertical climbing there is in this game. I know Conan had a great way of doing it that I kind of wish they would have done here, but I can see why they didn't. They made it very similar to Ark. But the climbing picks, you just walk up to a vertical surface, see that green line, that means you're good. You can go left to right on these walls, just following wherever that green line is. And then when you get to the top, red means there's nothing to climb on, there's nothing to jump onto. But if I can get here, get a little bit closer to the edge, and you can see right there, that blue light means you can jump up to a flat surface. Now I do believe if you fall off, like whee, you can grab on. You know, so if you're ever in a pickle and it's like you just have nothing to grab onto, or you have the picks in your inventory, just whip those out and then grab onto the wall and you should be good. You do have to be careful using these though, because as you can see, they use stamina and they take durability damage every time you climb. So it's a good idea to have a second pair of these on you, or to even have the grappling hook with you, so you can use that to save yourself and then rappel on down from wherever you were going. Alrighty, so we go ahead and we got our ship here. Now this next one we're going to be showing off the fishing net. Now the fishing net is what you use when you're on a boat. So we got to get the boat moving first, because it only works when you're moving through the water. Then you got to get your fishing net, make sure it's got bait. And then you need a chair, just like the fishing rod. Then you go ahead and pull it out, and then you cast it off the side. And you see, you don't have to get the boat moving super fast, but it does got to get going. And then as you sail, you'll see the green light, meaning it's working. And then it's the waiting game from here on out. Here we go. Got ourselves a little fishy fish in the net. Just got to complete the mini game. Pull them back up. What do we got? Sea bass. We got scales, fish meat, and 4 gold coins. Cool. Got about 10 fish meat, 27 scales. That's quite a bit of carrots. No, that's nice. And some 4 gold, you know. So, nice little pastime for when you're on a boat sailing to a distant destination and you don't feel like spending it the whole time just staring at the ocean. You feel like staring at the ocean and catching whatever's in the ocean. Alright, and then as we're sailing our ship back onto shore, go ahead and talk about the water skin. Water skin is the last of the craftable items we will be discussing. It can store up to 100 water. However, once you fill it, it will slowly begin to leak the water out. It's only 1 water every, it's a pretty good amount of time, I'd imagine. It's like almost every minute. But it's a good item to have on you, you know. Except for when you're in like the tropics or the equatorial area and it's raining all the time. There's not a lot of water out there, unless you're on land digging for it, obviously. But if you're on a boat, it's just nice to have it on your person. You don't got to be running using the water barrels and such. But just one of those simple tools that's kind of nice to hang on to. Alright, next we're going to be talking about some of the skills you can learn from the survivalism tree. So once you've passed the basics, you have the option of getting a basic water swimming speed bonus. Now this will incrementally increase your speed as you go down up to a max of 45%. Now from there, your basic water swimming speed bonus, you can get the oxygen reduction rate, decreasing the amount of oxygen that is lost while you're underwater. From there again, you can increase it up to the advanced, which gives you a total of a 60% oxygen reduction. Now, from oxygen reduction rate, you can go to a water temperature fortitude, increasing your resistance to the cold depths of the ocean while swimming, and that goes up to 45%. And then quick note, just something I've noticed, as you can see here, this goes negative 20%, negative 20%, negative 20%, and then it adds up here, oxygen consumption rate, to negative 60, whereas these skills over here go plus 15, plus 30, and then plus 45. So it isn't like this one where you can add those up, because otherwise that'd be 45 plus 30, making it 75, plus 15, making it 90, you know. This one just brings it to 45. So always make sure to check under your character like effects that he has on him, just to make sure you're getting the right numbers. Alright, so when I tested the water swimming speed bonus perk, I went ahead and used the large shipyard as kind of my swimming pool. I would start in this left corner, and then obviously I would start swimming, and I would start a meter. So when I tested this, at base it takes 24 seconds to swim from here to the very end of it. I'm going to go ahead and show you here. It's not going to take that long. Once you get up to plus 45%, you end up completing this stretch of water swimming in about 16 seconds, effectively shaving off about 8 seconds for the swim. The numbers, when I did the math, just, you know, sometimes they were a little weird and kind of confusing in my opinion, but it is a good amount of time shaved off that I think it is a worth it perk, because you do spend a lot of time swimming, you know, whether you're PvP, PvE, it's nice to be able to catch up or run away from whatever's in the water below. Alright, then after the basic swimming speed bonus perk, you learn oxygen reduction rate, which you will see here is quite nice. Now, I went ahead and turned off my infinite stats just so you could see the numbers go down. Something to keep in mind, I do have the vitamin equilibrium boost going, which also heavily increases how long you can stay underwater for. And as you can see, we've been under here for a little bit now. Not terribly long, but we only just now hit 95 out of 100 oxygen. So as you can tell, hello Mr. Sharky, we could stay under here for quite some time. Still only just now hitting 93. With the base amount of time you can stay underwater, I tested it, it's about 34 seconds. After getting all the perks, you end up at 82. Again, the numbers were a little weird, but this is how they're making it work. Overall, I feel like this perk is more for the flavor of it, for being able to just dive into the water whenever you want and hang out under for a long time. Because for me personally, I feel like being able to hold your breath for a very long time isn't all that useful, because anytime I would need to hold my breath for a long time, I could just as easily get a diving suit and then jump in the water and not have to worry about that, as long as I came up before the suit fails. So just something to think about. If you want to roleplay as Aquaman and just be able to hold your breath for a really long time, do it. There's no reason not to. One good thing I could think of as PvP is we were fighting a dude and he would just go in the water, and it's pretty hard to see things once they dive down a bit, and then he would just hold his breath for a ridiculous long time. So he'd be like, where the heck did he go? And then he'd pop up out of nowhere and we still wouldn't know where he came from. So that's definitely a good reason to use it. But that's my input on it. Alright, so with the help of some useful cheats, we're going to go ahead and plunge ourselves into the deep ocean below. Now, we're going to go ahead and be showing off the fortitude perk, increasing your resistance to the depths of the ocean. Now, how this one works is it takes your base fortitude that you have on your character, doesn't take into account armor from what I tested. So your base fortitude, which is 78, yes, 78, it takes that and then multiplies your insulation. Like, look at that, we can see the bottom of the ocean and we're only just now getting cold. It's about 39 degrees down here, and we don't get cold until around 36. So 36 is around when we start freezing our booties off. Again, I don't know how this can necessarily be useful, because if you're trying to dive that deep down into the water, I don't think you're really worrying about the cold, because all it does is make you hungrier. And then if you're really that worried about the temperature, I feel like you just throw on a diving suit and you're good, because the only reason I've ever needed to go down that deep is for salvaging wrecks and digging up treasure. And I just always use a diving suit, because then I can stay underwater for a lot longer that way. And then also, animals don't try to kill me. As you saw, these guys want to kill me. If you got the diving suit, they don't care about you. Alright, and then just to kind of show off real quick, so out of the water, our insulation is at 159 and 194. Alright, here. I'll even show you without the armor, because it doesn't take that into account. 127, even, across the board. Now we go ahead and jump in some water. You'll see we are now at 184. Not a significant change, but a change nonetheless. And you'll see we put on the armor. It will increase our fortitude, but it's not from the perk. So yeah, there you go. Alright, so the past couple perks that I just went over, they, except for the water swimming one, like the speed bonus one, I think they're all very niche perks. They're all perks that aren't really going to be adding a lot to your overall efficiency and effectiveness in the game of Atlas. The oxygen reduction I can maybe see for what I was talking about with the PvP, but other than that, I feel like the diving suit just does it all and better. With the diving suit, you don't got to worry about oxygen. You just got to make sure you get up before the timer runs out. It protects you from animals. It protects you from the cold, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Now, when you're, even with all these perks, yes, you could dive probably just as deep and stay down even longer than with the suit, but you got the animals coming after you. And that just does not sound like a great time to me, because there's a lot of them, dude. They're scary. They're not fun to deal with. But it's kind of up to you. You know, they both have their ups and downs. With the excuse me, with the swimming perks, you can do it anytime, anywhere. With the diving, you obviously need to have the boat, the attachment, and then some oil. So it's give and takes. Just so you guys know, it takes about 32 points to, or 36 I believe, to get everything you need for like all those perks in the survivalism tree, whereas it takes 16 to get to the diving attachment, and then you also get a lot more stuff along the way. But up to you guys. Just want to put in my quick input, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing. Alright, so for this next one, I don't really have a way to show it, so I'm gonna just start climbing this wall. But after water keeper skill, here, I can show that part. So after you've acquired water keeper, you can go to cooking and farming, and then you have your vitamin depletion rate skills. These obviously make sure those little multicolored bars on the right side of your screen go down slower, so you don't have to worry so much about, you know, when am I going to get my next meal. I got to make sure I'm eating, you know, fish and meat and vegetables and fruit. Like, I'm pretty sure half of us don't even do that in real life. Who the hell wants to do it in a video game? So if you get these, you don't got to worry about that much. It takes a lot less time. According to the test that I did, it was about 2 hours and 40 minutes by the time my vitamins hit 0. And after everything, it took about 4 hours. So it's a nice perk. I don't recommend getting the very last one. If you're planning on learning farming and stuff, by all means learn it, but I would only learn it up to the second one, just so you're only using 3 points, not 11. So this next one again is nothing crazy, so we're just gonna keep climbing. It is to the right of the tree. We're finally doing something that isn't from the basics. You're gonna go to grab hand-to-hand combat, and then you got your basic higher hand harvesting. These give you up to 60% extra resources when gathering by hand or by tools. In my opinion, this is a great skill to get when you're in the earlier game. When you're in the late game, you got tames. This perk does not affect tames by any stretch of the imagination, but it is quite nice when you're in the very beginning parts of the game, just because it really helps you grind out some of those larger projects, and like building your first boat, building your first base, and just making sure that you just get it done fast. You're not spending hours just hacking away at trees and hacking away at rocks, but it just makes it a little bit quicker, a little more efficient. I'd say it's a great perk to get. Again, if you're wanting to fully spec into just your gathering farming mode, just throw all your points into weight, grab that advanced perk, and then just move on. Now from there on forth, since majority of the time you're going to want taming, I don't think it's a bad idea to just spend the $3 to grab 3 points to get to that second tier, just to have on you all the time. So if you don't have a tame, you're getting a little bit more than just the bare minimum. As you can see, 111 wood from that one tree, and that's with me being at the max. So I just wanted to go ahead and give a thank you guys to watching this video. I've gotten some great comments on the past videos that I've made. I really appreciate that I'm able to help you guys out. I'm really hoping these are informational for you. I really hope they're helping, that you guys are learning stuff. Again, if you guys have any suggestions for other videos that you'd like me to make, or any ideas I could do to improve these videos, please just let me know in the comments down below. I really appreciate you guys checking me out. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.